You know, it's crazy where life will take you. After last night, we touched back down in New Orleans. We had a couple days off in between games. So I woke up and had a chance to reflect. If you've been keeping up with my story, this time last year, I was riding the bench and got sent down to the G League by the LA Lakers. After being a first round draft pick, I suddenly found myself having to prove my worth. And through all the trials and tribulations, just 1 year later, last night I hit the game-winning shot on my old team and shocked the NBA world. And now, I really feel like I belong. Where's my NBA career headed? Only I could tell you. But for right now, I feel like the man. If you told me I would be on the #1 team in the NBA, I probably would have laughed. But now, it's reality. Me and the New Orleans Pelicans have been cruising through the NBA season thus far. We're in the month of December, and me and the guys haven't slowed down one bit. Coaches let me take control of the team at the point guard position, and allowing guys like Zach to come off the ball and do what they do best, get buckets. And even though I'm playing the point guard position, I remained aggressive, attacking the basket, getting defensive stops, and just playing my role. And playing my role has got me triple doubles, like this one right here against Minnesota. I finished with 19, 11 assists, and 14 rebounds. For the entire month of December, we were cooking. We were going to get some of the NBA's best players and talents and teams, but none of that mattered, as we remained the #1 team in the Western Conference and basically the #1 team in the NBA, if you ask me. With my improved play and getting all my teammates involved, there started to be some chatter around. Is Kiante Blue an all-star? Most improved? Look, you guys know what I've been through. You guys know I'm humble. I never walk around acting like I'm the best. But at this point, I've been putting up consistently good numbers. And with more eyes on us this season, it's gotten me in conversations I never thought I would have been in. Unfortunately, in January, Jared Allen went down to a spinal injury. He's expected to miss 2 months. And as for Zion, he's been battling nagging knee injuries basically his entire career, and he just can't seem to catch a break. So for me, I took this opportunity to step up for my team. Me, Tobias, and Zach will hold down the backcourt. Guys like Montrezl Harrell will try to step in and fill the big old void in the front court. And for a while, we were still hooping. Not a beat missed. I was putting up all-star numbers like 25, 12, and 8 against the improved Washington Wizards. And in matchups against some of the NBA's best guards, I never backed down. It's not in my DNA. Look, there was a lot of chatter that the only reason I was putting up great numbers is because of guys like Zion and Zach LaVine taking all the attention away from me. And don't get me wrong, I love my guys. But without Zion and Jay on the court, this is finally a chance for me to not only prove I belong in this league, but I deserve to be mentioned with the top guys in the NBA right now. I'm not a household name yet, but if it's any proof like this game against the New York Knicks, I'm a hooper. I got all of my teammates involved in Madison Square Garden because I know memories like this last forever. And for myself, I know how to put the ball in the basket with ease now. I know where to find my shot at, and I'm not gonna force it. If I get double teamed, no problem. I got 11 paid hitmen that'll be ready to shoot when called upon. It's crazy to consider how much chemistry we've already gained in half a season. I mean, you guys saw the offseason we had. We let go of some staples in the Pelicans community, B.I., JV, and CJ. But in my humble opinion, we traded them for guys that were hungry and ready to win a championship. As we're getting closer to the All-Star break, I'm averaging around 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists, currently having 4 triple-doubles on the season. And with those numbers, I'm entering conversations I never would have thought I would enter. All NBA. Look, you got guys like Trae Young, Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, shoot, Ja Morant. That boy came back cooking last season and hasn't stopped. And humbly speaking, do I think I'm on those guys' level right now? Maybe not, but I've been holding my own weight. And without Jay and Zion, we've been doing well. But if there's any representation of how hard it's been, look at this game against the Grizzlies. We were just too undersized at one point, and it started to catch up to us. Look, Montrezl Harrell was doing all he could to hold it down, but even he was undersized for his position. And while Zion is undersized himself, his big frame makes up for it, and we need him back in the picture ASAP. But he's getting closer to his return, and we're ready. But in the meantime, let me take you guys around the NBA. The Rookie of the Year race is heating up, and with the unfortunate death of my brother Tavion Cole, the #2 overall draft pick KJ Turner of the Spurs has stepped up, currently averaging over 17 and 6 boards. And while he's the front runner for the Rookie of the Year award early on in the season, there's a kid out of Sacramento that's trailing right behind him, Elliott Reeves. Some of you guys may remember him from my time in the G. I'm gonna be honest, bro was kind of cooking me up early in that game. He kind of humbled me. Look, I know everybody remembers Susu from that game, but for me personally, the way I got done in that game, Elliott Reeves has been on my radar. Apparently he was on Sacramento's radar the whole time. When De'Aaron Fox requested a trade, they traded up in the draft to get him at number 12. And he's currently averaging 17 and 7 assists, in second place for Rookie of the Year, and amazingly, first place for Sixth Man of the Year. And look, as much as I don't really like him, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention Zach Sabre Jr. out of LA. You guys remember when we played against him? He low-key sparked a comeback, so I can't even hate. His solid play has him third place right now in the Rookie of the Year ranks. But there's no team with more rookies than Oklahoma City Thunder. Look, don't ask me how, but they currently have 5 rookies that come off the bench, and with their production alone, they have the number 1 ranked bench in the NBA. And with those rookies in mind, it makes the Thunder a dangerous team come playoff time. But speaking of dangerous, the dynamic duo of Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland finally figured it out. There was a lot of rumors that Mitchell was going to leave the Cavs after last offseason and go to the Knicks, but he decided to stick around, and it worked out. The Cavs are currently sitting at number 2 in the Eastern Conference, and amazingly enough, Darius Garland is currently 3rd in the MVP ladder this season. And as we got closer to All-Star break, I got hit with some news that rocked my world. Chicago Tribune reports that Zach Bryson has been named as the gunman and murdered Tavion Cole, and if he's convicted, he can face life. What makes this worse is that me, Zach, and Tay all went to high school together. While I was a year older than them, they were still like my brothers on the basketball team. But for Zach, he didn't get the same recognition that me and Tay got. Apparently after I went off to Villanova, Tay and Zach didn't rock with each other as much. While Tay was getting every big time offer from every school in the nation, Zach's biggest offer came from Delaware State and HBCU. But while it was lesser known, Zach had tried to take this opportunity to put himself on the map, and he was balling. I admit, I didn't really watch too much of his games, but nationally, it was all about Tay. Tay went off to Ohio State and balled out and got immediate national recognition, making him the number 1 prospect, and as you guys know, eventually taking number 1 in the NBA draft. And for Zach, it ate him up inside. Look, in his mind, him and Tay were equal. They were from the same high school in the same city, working out in the same gyms. So after a solid season at Delaware State, he decided to test his luck and put his name in the NBA draft pool and go to the draft combine. But sadly, they told him that he needed to go back to school at least 1 more season and work on his game. Ironically enough, for Zach, that felt like the closest thing to a gunshot. While they turned him away, they welcomed Tay with open arms and took him number 1. And for Zach, it slowly ate him up inside, to the point where after school was out, he went back to the city. And while Tay was getting ready for the NBA draft, Zach was hanging out with the wrong crowd. And I can tell you, Zach wasn't like that. Bro was a straight A student, stayed in the books, stayed on the court. When you get filled with jealousy and envy, it makes you do dark things. And in that whole summer, he was plotting, trying to figure out how he was gonna make this right. In his mind, and to his guys, his yes men, they convinced him that he was on the level of Tay. But the NBA didn't see it that way. So instead of being worried about working on his game and going back to school and getting better, he spent the whole summer figuring out a plan to get to Tay. And then it happened. The late night, early morning of September 31st, 2024, while Tay was at a party, celebrating getting ready for the NBA season, little did he know, it would turn into a celebration of his life, as his old high school teammate and somebody called his brother ended it. Was it worth it? We all can go ask Zach in visitation hours, as he's facing life in prison for that moment and time period filled with anger, jealousy, and deceit. As for me, I didn't know how to handle the news. I played with Zach as well. Me and him wasn't as close. I wonder why. I mean, it just seems like in the moments where I'm finally thriving and figuring out myself, I get hit with the worst news. And while this didn't hit as hard as Tavion dying, out of frustration, I still ended up punching a hole in the wall at a team practice facility. And I sprained my wrist doing it as well. But in my opinion, it was worth it. So rather I punched that wall, or I found out where Zach was. I wasn't gonna do nothing. At the same time, due to my injury, I had to wear a hand wrap. And since it was self-inflicted, I didn't want to miss any time. I'd rather play through the pain. Shoot, I was playing through pain this whole season regardless. So this ain't nothing new. And for my teammates, I apologize. I let my anger get the best of me, and now everything hurts. Dribbling, trying to shoot, pass, whipping the ball. I had to figure it out though. I wouldn't dare miss time for this. We in the middle of a great run, and my team needs me. Without Zion and Jay in the lineup, I was the top dog. We had the #1 record in the Western Conference. And I wouldn't dare let Zach Bryson or anything else take that joy away from me, pain or not. We're at the All-Star break now. And despite my season, the fans did not vote me in as an All-Star starter. Thanks to guys like Steph getting legacy votes, I didn't even get voted in as a replacement or reserve. So I was getting ready to play in the Rising Stars game during All-Star weekend. Despite my disappointment, I was still in pain, but I was a starter and I wouldn't dare miss this moment. These are memories that'll live forever. So I decided to throw on that Rising Stars jersey and compete for as long as they needed me to, pain or not. And I put up some buckets in this game. Look, don't get it confused, bro. I was taught to ball out no matter what. And while it wasn't efficient, it worked. And in a game like this, nobody really cared. It was an exhibition. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know what I was thinking, but I yammed it over this random rookie and I made a mistake. By the time I took flight in the air, I done forgot my wrist was sprained. And when I came down with the dunk, my wrist went numb. But regardless, I took advantage of the opportunity in this game to look at the young and up-and-coming talent. And if I must say myself, the league is in good hands. Nobody really knows what the future holds. But if I had to tell it myself, we're gonna be alright. And most importantly, I got a chance to play with Dick. Finally, my 2023 classmate. Me and him on the sideline cracking up, but after a while, the pain in my wrist started to resurface. And I couldn't wait to get on break and get myself together. Look, we had a big playoff push ahead of us, and I knew I had to be as close to 100% as possible. And I'm ready. In the first practice back from All-Star break, we got a welcome sight. Zion. My boy is back and healthy. And while we're still missing Jared Allen for another month, the team spirits are very high. Listen, we held it down without those two, thanks to guys like Montrezl Harrell and his energy. And thanks to Zion coming back, we feel like we'll be able to hold it down for even longer. As it stands right now, we're the #1 team in the Western Conference, and we don't want to let that up. The idea of giving our fans a home court advantage throughout the playoffs is exciting. The NBA season is long, and games like this against the Spurs, who are the worst team in the West, really test your focus. Look, we entered into March, and we already had over 50 wins in the season, and you don't want to lose focus. This is the time of year where teams are starting to lock it in and play better. For us, we've been playing well all season, but this game right here was a testament to prove that, hey, any given night, it can happen. Everybody's shot was off, I was turning the ball over, and as I was sitting on the bench, I was just thankful to even be in this position. But I couldn't say the same the following night. We played against Portland, and after coming down from a hard dunk, I hit the ground face first. And while it could have been worse, I was out a month with a facial fracture in my nose. And while it didn't require surgery, it required intensive massages and rehab. I mean, it's like I couldn't catch a break at all. This season was going so well, but it seemed like I was getting hit with haymakers left and right. My boy Jay was itching to come back. While he was days away from his return, I was just now moving in on the end of that bench. But I thank him. He was giving me words of encouragement as he was getting himself ready to come back. And while I was on the end of that bench watching, my rookie stepped up, Kilpatrick. Coach Willie Green decided he'll be a starter in my absence. And I have to admit, for a rookie, he's got great fundamentals, game sense. One of the games that impressed me was a road trip where we played the Indiana Pacers, and he just seemed to hit Zion wherever he needed it to, at the rim, under the basket. Hey, when he was on that bench watching me, he knew what he was doing. He stepped in, showed no nervousness, and did his job. In this particular game, he had 17 points, 8 assists, and 5 steals, putting up numbers similar to myself. While I wanted to hate bad, I couldn't do nothing but respect it. When the opportunity gets called, it's up to you to respond and answer. And that's exactly what he did. For myself, I had to just watch my team succeed while I sat there in pain. These are real trying points in my career right now. I'm only 2 years in, but I'm battling every trial and tribulation you can think of. We extended our road trip out to Philadelphia. We got to see a fan favorite, our old teammate CJ. And he's so nice. This whole season he's been building houses in the Philadelphia area, brick by brick. But as much as I want to laugh, can't even hate on him too much, bro. That was my first vet. For Tobias, it was a chance for him to come back to Philadelphia. But this team looked completely different from how he left it. They signed Jordan Clarkson in the offseason, and with Tyrese Maxey being out, the team just didn't have the same success they used to have in previous years. But Jared Allen was finally back and getting into game shape, which was great for the team. But as for me, I still was a ways away, and this feeling was different. It wasn't like the team was doing bad. They were doing really well. Matter of fact, a lot of people were wondering if I was a system player? I mean, it's a valid question. Kilpatrick steps in as a rookie, puts up similar numbers to mine, and the team doesn't miss a beat. With all the guys fully healthy, I was the only one missing in action. And I was just getting restless out there, growing my hair out and my beard again. Finally, towards the end of the season, we're in San Antonio for the last game. And after sitting out the better part of a month, the team decided it was time for me to get minutes in action before the playoffs. There wasn't a concern about my injury being painful. It was more so a concern about me re-injuring it with one small hit, and I could be potentially out for the rest of the playoffs. But for me, I've been dealing with pain all season, even before I got injured. This is definitely the most I've been nicked up in my entire career. I'm just ready to get my career back on track. But it was gonna be hard when Zoe is hooping. Listen, my rook stepped into my job and is performing. How could I hate? I'm somebody that came from humble beginnings and had to earn my spot. But I'll be lying to you if I said it wasn't eating me alive. I'm sitting on the bench ready to check in the game for the first time in a month, and I feel like my spot might be gone. I know I offer much more on defense and in the passing game, but when you're winning games, why switch up? I had to realize this is the same position CJ was in last year with me. And while my ego is much smaller than CJ's, it's still a matter of principle. The rookie is killing it right now, and the team has already gotten used to playing with him. The lives of Zion are picture perfect. So if I don't come in and improve myself immediately, I'm gonna be coming off the bench for the number 1 seed in the playoffs after all the work I did to lead us here. But I gotta put my ego aside and get ready, because I got one shot in this game to prove if I'm a starter or not. When I checked into this game, I had to tell myself it's no big deal. Just do what I do best. While I no longer felt any pain in my wrist, I still would have wrapped this game to remind myself what I've been through this season. Maybe that was a bad thing. As soon as I checked in the game and got my first opportunity to shoot, I put up a brick. And that basically set the tone. I was late on defense, I got tired quick, and coach eventually had enough and took me out of the game. Just like that, my season is over. And while I personally feel like I had a great season, there's a lot of questions surrounding my status, physically and mentally. We're the best team in the West, and the playoffs run through our home court. I know all the questions will be, should Kiante come off the bench, or should he get his starting spot back? The trainers decided that it was best for me to wear a mask heading into the playoffs regardless. So whether I'm coming off the bench or in the starting lineup, I'm gonna buckle my mask up, get ready for war. We got a chip to go in. Fateh.